27th Chilton County Commission meeting. Before we call this meeting to order, I'm going to ask that y'all all stand, and I'm going to put him on the spot and ask John Sharon, if he will, to pray for us and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, guys. Miss Sylvia, if you will, make a note that we have everyone present and we do have a quorum. So we'll call this meeting to order with everyone here. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the agenda? And if so, or do we have any additions and deletions?
The only additions I had, request of RFP under Chairman Barnell. Legislative committee representative.
Okay. Does anyone else have any additions or deletions?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda with the additions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes dated July 13th? And if so, could I get a motion to approve?
Move we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the claims dated July 27th, 2021? And if so, could I get a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills for July 27th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I abstain because I have a family member on the list.
Okay, let the record reflect that Commissioner Williams abstains. Motion carries. We don't have anyone on public comments tonight, so we'll move down to department reports. Sheriff, if you would, please, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Oh, I'd like to ask for a resolution to have Lieutenant Ann Davis reclassified from assistant warden to warden as rank of captain.
Move we reclassify Ann Davis from assistant warden to warden rank of captain.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next, I'd like to request a resolution to have Mason Manley reclassified as a jail supervisor to the rank of sergeant.
Make a motion we, as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reclassify Mason Manley to supervisor as a rank of sergeant. The floor is open for discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
He's basically been doing the job, we're just getting his money.
Good deal, good deal.
All right, and lastly, request a resolution to have the following vehicles surplus. Do I need to go down through there?
They don't need to be read, just
So-
as stated, or as listed.
Yeah, as listed here in the thing.
I'll make a motion to surplus the vehicles as listed on the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
There's no more blood left in them turnips. I mean, they
There you
about
go.
squeezed is all this is going to be.
I asked Gerald earlier, were they all under 50,000 miles?
Oh,
And he
they
said
are. They are.
maybe
Real-
under 250,000 miles.
Some of them, might be under 250. I doubt it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to staff reports. Ms. Sylvia, if you will, please, with the commission officer.
Mr. Chairman, the Chilton Water Authority, I believe this is the third meeting, and we're requesting nominations and appointments. The current nominations are to reappoint Elbert Simon and a nomination of Patrick Connell.
Patrick Connell has asked to be removed. He does want to serve in some capacity for the county. but he didn't want to be put up for this particular spot, so remove him.
Okay. Then I request a resolution to close the nominations.
Make a resolution that we close nominations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, one clarification for future reference when nominating somebody to the Water Authority. If they're not served by that Water Authority, they cannot serve on that body. And Patrick Connell lives in the city limits of Clanton, so he wouldn't have been qualified anyway.
Okay, good deal. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I make a motion we approve Albert Simon for the Water Authority.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Currently, we're in the second meeting for the Central Alabama Wellness nominations. Currently, we have no nominations other than to reappoint Terry Connell and reappoint Matt Mims.
I'll make a motion, or I would like to offer up Miss Sylvia Singleton.
Okay,
I think she would graciously take that spot if we would put her in.
okay. Make a note of that, and we'll leave those nominations open for one more meeting period.
The last request is for a resolution to appoint a legislative committee representative or have a volunteer.
Okay. Well, I made a statement in the work session that I would gladly vacate that position, but I served last year, and I'm there in a capacity with the Association of County Commissioners anyway. And I would continue to serve if it's the will of the commission, but if somebody else wants it, they're welcome to it.
I would like you to keep it.
So you're gonna make
If
a
I need a
nomination?
resolution, I'll nominate you to keep that role, please.
I'll second
We have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion.
our nomination.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, guys, we don't have any old business tonight, so we'll move down to the commissioner reports, and I have a couple of items that I think we need to deal with. One in particular, we have received our deposit from the federal government for our COVID funds relief. And we have that money currently at Marion Bank in a savings account. There's $4,314,897 in that account. We have a document that Ms. Sylvia was showing us earlier. I think she said it's 157 pages that outlines a very narrow scope of what that money can be spent on. We have expectations of an additional payment next year of the same amount, and we have till the fall or maybe the end of 2024. December of 2024 to spend that money. I'm going to ask the commission tonight to charge Roger with our help to putting together a request for proposal. And that request for proposal would go out to all the telecommunications companies in our area to ask them to take the broadband study that was put in place by the IDA last February and see if we can work with them in some way, whether it be a subsidy or something from the county to complete that trunk line loop of broadband throughout the county. Now, that wouldn't be supplying every home, but that study showed for under $2 million that we could supply the majority of the county. And it also showed that 85% of the county was either unserved or underserved with their current broadband. We're going into potentially our third school year where students are going to be affected with being sent home from school, not being able to go to school and those type things. And there are a lot of kids in this county, and they're not necessarily just the rural kids. There are a lot of kids in this county that don't have adequate internet access. And not saying that we're going to do something with them, but we want to put out a request for proposal for them to come back to us and tell us as a county government, what do they need from us for them to be interested enough into our community to come and provide a service. At that point, we'll bring those responses back to the commission. The commission can say, yes or no, or we're not interested, or we'll do whatever it, might take. But I'm asking tonight for one of you guys to put up a resolution to allow Roger and I, and if any one or two of y'all want to help, to put together a request for proposal to go out, as I said, to all the telecommunication companies in
I'll
our
make
area.
that request.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So, yeah, so if you're gonna do this, or you're saying you're gonna take this COVID money and do this?
I'm saying that the COVID money is available for that. It is one of those narrow scope criteria that it's available for. And that would be a decision after we receive a request
Okay.
or their proposal, whether we would do it out of another funding mechanism or out of the COVID money. But that money has either got to be spent on a legitimate project or it goes back to the government in 2024. And just based on what we saw happen with the Central Access grant that they received last year, it's taken them more than a year to do what they've done, and they already had a plan in place.
Gotcha.
We don't have a plan in place, so if we got the ball rolling immediately, it might take 2 years just for that. If they want $250,000 or whatever that subsidy is, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but, we've gotta start somewhere if we're gonna be able to find an adequate way to spend this money in the time period.
To
that's
answer my
allowed.
question, when we get done with this, I have a proposal also.
Before you got here, we were discussing it, and I told them I've been in contact with the Alabama Power representative frequently. We talk once a week, and he said they sent their proposal to REA, and they're just waiting on them to finalize it. And my thinking on this, if we do this RFP, that may push them to go ahead and get this done before somebody else
Right.
takes advantage of it.
That's fine.
Okay,
I'm
so
good.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Now, can I add to that?
Please, sir.
So, being we're on the same topic of the COVID money also, I would like also to look into this maybe appointing 3 commissioners or volunteering 3 commissioners to look at a study, a feasible study on a courthouse for this county. We talked about that before. This courthouse is 100 years old or more, and it's dilapidated, and we keep putting money, putting Band-Aid on the pig. We keep putting money in something that needs to be looked at about building, because if it's possible, then we need to be looking at that, but because if we have the time to do it now, or what we're gonna wait on another 10 years and this thing just falls in, because
I'll be shocked if we'll be able to use that money for that.
I
We'll
believe.
find out, but I don't think you
No,
will.
I've read a lot of it. and
okay, well, if we don't,
included.
I still want a committee appointed. Let's find the money to do it, because we can, if it ain't the COVID money, but we kicked this old can down the road so long. We just put $200,000 on an air conditioner and a heater it's just,
So
We
just
just keep-
just because you brought it up, and I wanna kick that can one time. We had an engineering firm come in here, architectural engineering firm, and tell us what we had to do to replace that system in here, because we've been essentially without an air conditioner and heater off and on for how many years
Many
now?
years.
6, 7 years. And the number came back to look something like $3 million, and we fixed it for 200,000. So, yay for us. But
How long?
On the
it gonna last?
COVID,
yeah,
since you've gone COVID, and I'm we have a radio system in this county that we cannot use. This COVID money can be spent on radios. All we lacking is a radio, basically, for our sheriff's department and the fire departments, and then we can activate this system.
P25?
I think we need to be looking at buying radios. I talked to Gerald, and I think Gerald or Harmon once said it was about 123,000. Was it 190-something thousand? Okay, 190-something thousand. We'll just say 200,000 sheriff's department radios. For the fire departments, we're looking at close to double that. And we can get a system that has been in place in this county for how many months? Not even been able to utilize.
well, we
ain't
have
been long, but
we
up,
have
though.
a few people
Cool.
that are utilizing it, and the 911 board has had a guy come in here in the last few weeks and sync their console up with it. So it's working now across all of the different types of radios that everybody, it's not working well. So Alan, what I would tell you to that is I personally agree that it's gotta be done and it's a legitimate cost or reason. But I would also point out that there's some new grants that are available. And I would like for everyone to apply for those grants. We'll know pretty quickly whether they're gonna get them or not. And then whatever we can't get through that grant block, then we come back and look at, because we've got a little bit of time, but I wouldn't want to spend this money until we know we're not going to be able to get the grants. But the sheriff has applied for some. Several of the other volunteer fire departments have gotten some, and they've put more money into that
Is
grant
this the
fund.
state grants?
Sheriff,
It's a Homeland Security grant.
Okay.
We got it here before, we denied it last year, and we just come open last week, we're applying for it again this time. Who knows where we'll get it or not.
but we've got a lot of our volunteer fire departments that have applied and received some of those funds within the last 2 years, and we've got some that haven't applied at all. So we need to somehow coordinate, maybe through Butch or some of those guys, to help get those applications submitted, see what we can get for Homeland Security, and then us backfill the gap, whatever it is. But we're within, what is that gonna be, like a 3-month window?
It'll probably be like October or so at least before we know.
I'm sorry. Mr. Billings also said that we needed 911 consoles.
Yeah, and that's gonna be expensive, and they also say that the towers are already outdated that we built, that we hadn't even turned on yet, and we need to upgrade those towers because they're running out of frequency.
Well,
One other thing on COVID money, like I said, I read that pretty intensely. Ambulance service. I don't know if y'all been getting any calls from anybody about ambulance service in the county, but I have. And I looked into this, and I've been talking to RPS about what we can do collectively to enhance our ambulance service in the county. And I talked to him today, and we're going to sit down and put some numbers together Friday. So I'll be bringing something back to the commission and see if we can use some of this COVID money, if it's practical, for
Well,
subsidizing an ambulance service.
Be real careful with that, Alan, because the 911 board is negotiating right now on a contract with RPS. And there's a committee and there's a document circulating and there's some demands for money to meet certain levels of service, and all that's being negotiated. So whatever you're doing with them, just be careful that you're not undermining the 911 board.
I'm not undermining anybody from the discussions I've had with him and some others.
Yeah, we got a problem, and there's a lot of, so just the public, was discussed at our last 911 meeting. RPS is in Chilton County because they service a great deal of Shelby County, and there's several of the communities in Shelby County who have more revenue than we have, that have, because of the ambulance services that are available, have opted to buy their own ambulance systems and run them internally. And if they lose a couple of more cities in Shelby County, they're gonna pull out. And when they pull out, Chilton County will be without an ambulance service completely.
We just continue that loop because of St. Clair, building here, we lose that part right there.
They're gone. And there's some reasons for that, y'all. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but it's something like 85% of the calls they go out on, they don't transport. And of the 15% or so, and y'all check my numbers because this is a year old in my mind, but of the 15% they do transport, only half of those actually pay because only half of them are insured. So they're running.
And the other part of Medicaid, and Medicaid don't pay full because of our state of Alabama.
They're servicing us on a revenue stream of about 7.5% of their actual call outs. And that's why we lost our last ambulance service that was here. They didn't go out of business. They took their assets and went to a different community. They went to a community outside of Atlanta where the pay ratios were higher. You know, they're like everybody else. They got a limited amount of capital they can put into their business. And if they're coming here and only getting paid 7 or 7.5% of the time, or they can go to a different community and get paid 50% of the time, they're gonna take that $1 or $2 million worth of investment and go to a different community.
Well, they've got, just like any other business, they've got to turn a profit.
They've got
And
to.
right now, they can't even come close to that because they can't put bodies in the seats of the ambulances.
That's another one of the problems with medic shortage, because you got making so much money on the ambulance, and everybody goes to work with the fire department, you know, because they pay more. And there's the problem, they give them a pay raise, but it's gonna take a while probably to kind of see the effect of that, because everybody's gonna work with the fire department.
And the ones that are not working in the fire department are going home because our governor's giving them extra unemployment money. And they're sitting home doing nothing, drawing more money.
Well, there's a lot of things at play here, but, you know, from a business standpoint, their employees need a raise, and they're losing money. How do you keep giving people a raise to retain them when you're losing money? So they're in a bad position, and at some point, we may have to get involved in an ambulance service, and I don't wanna do that.
I
but
don't
we
want to
may
be in
have to.
ambulance business, maybe help them.
Is it even possible that we could get a couple of these fire departments certified to transport?
They have certified people there, they just gotta, most of our volunteer fire departments have multiple people on their staff that are more highly certified than most of your ambulance
What
staff.
we have to do to get them to transport instead of depending on an ambulance
They have to
service.
have a correct vehicle.
Right, they have to have an ambulance, but $300,000 just
For a volunteer,
without.
for a volunteer, and for a volunteer fire
Well, if we use
department.
it- If we're gonna use this COVID money to hire ambulance service, would it be feasible for us to use the COVID money to,
Oh, I didn't say hire, I subsidize. Help
So-
them
so
with their
some of
costs
these
for our
other-
indig and their Medicaid that's
Some of
costing
these-
them money.
Some
But
of
if we
our
do-
surrounding counties are paying a subsidy. Lowndes is, Dallas is, Perry is, because they're in that same situation where there's just no way. But we're in excess now of 45-minute average response time, and some of those responses are as high as 2 hours. You know, if it's your wife and kid laying in a ditch bleeding to death and you're waiting 2 hours on an ambulance, you're gonna be pretty upset.
Well, why we kicking this can, one of the problems I said was Medicaid. We need to talk to our legislators and senators and tell them to get Alabama up to par with Mississippi, Georgia, and Tennessee what they're paying Medicaid. Alabama does not pay out Medicaid like our surrounding states. That's one of the problems the ambulance service has. Most all the medical field has.
Well, I'm game to work on anything that can improve our situation, because everybody that's involved in this, and everybody in this county at some point is gonna be affected by a slow response or lack of response from an ambulance.
If you breathe in there, you may need an ambulance.
You
Yep.
need to,
And COVID's really brought it to the front.
it did.
Well, we've heard a lot of COVID money going out there, but what we gonna do when the COVID money's gone? That's what I'm kinda
Yeah.
thinking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Well,
we
I'm
can
thinking about
COVID
one
money in this
time-
thing today. We can COVID everybody at home right now because they ain't working, so, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I can't, it's hard to find an employee right now that wants to
Got
work.
So many openings,
you-
I wanna throw up.
Anyhow, moving right along.
All right, development property. Roger, would you kinda lead us since, just tee Roger up here. There's a piece of property out there at the 212 that we've been pursuing. And I kind of assigned Roger to work on this because it's represented by a real estate firm out of Birmingham, and Roger is in Birmingham, so he's opened negotiations up with them and just bring us up to where we
Sure.
are, Roger.
This is in the triangle, it's what's called a Littleton tract. Shannon Walcheck, brokerage firms had the property listed for some time. Back last fall, when the first efforts were made to acquire the property, when the city of Clanton was using that effort along with Nexsite, the real estate broker from Daniel went out there, talked with these folks. They had tentatively agreed on $1.5 million. Nothing happened, of course, and it's been sitting there all this time. So we reasoned that with our acquisition plan that we should disregard the use of the broker and put a price on it without brokerage fees. So we made an offer less than what we understood their last ask was. So they made a counter offer back to us, $2 million. So they went the other way. I can guess at why that number was what it was, but, you know, as activities picked up and now the farm center's become a reality, that's what's happening to property values. So we let them sit for a couple of weeks, and now there's been another party show some interest in the property. They essentially gave us their bottom line at $1.5 million. We've got a contract that I've talked with the agent about that they're willing to do with $25,000 of earnest money. 60-day due diligence, 30 days to close thereafter. So if that's your wish, then we're in a position to present that contract as early as tomorrow.
Okay. Do y'all have any questions in regards to that? Okay, we need a motion to move forward or not to move forward.
you to execute the purchase.
Right. Now, I would state to y'all that this particular piece of property is in the middle of where our development area is gonna be. And if we don't have the rights to that, our plan to fund the exhibition hall is gonna be extremely difficult.
So, Mr. Chair, my understanding is if this piece of property being right in the middle of what we about 95%
You don't have
sure
a
is gonna
motion.
We have
happen.
to have a motion, a second.
You don't have
we're
a
gonna discuss
motion.
it.
We need a motion.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. All right?
Yep, you're right.
We gotta make a motion before it can be discussed.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'll
I'm
make a
sorry.
motion. Did we,
Okay, can I get a
with
second?
sake of discussion?
Can I get a second for sake of discussion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now the floor is open for discussion.
Okay, I'm sorry. My understanding, this piece of property is right in the middle of what is fixing to happen. And if we don't get this piece of property, it's a big, big possibility that the whole thing will blow up. Is that correct?
Well, it's a matter of figuring out where to relocate, and all the money that we've already spent is positioned for this to be part of that. Yes, sir.
I guess my question, and I don't know if this is a Roger question or IDA question, is how much we lack after this and moving forward. Do we lack, or does this help us
We
move
have
forward?
3 small parcels that we're still interested in, and 1 big parcel that is being negotiated right now. That would, this and the other big parcel would get us in a place where we could meet our threshold of revenue for that retail to pay the payments for the exhibition hall. So we're very close. But this happened yesterday. These people called Roger and said, we've got another offer, and y'all are either gonna have to vote tomorrow night to approve it, or we're gonna accept the other offer. And if they accept the other offer, everything that we planned is up in smoke. But this does coincide with the budget that was given us by Next Site. And this is the number that they put on it that said that it was the maximum that they could get returned to them when they flip the property to the retail establishment that wants to locate there. So we've maxed it out. And everybody knew that because this had already been negotiated last fall when the city was trying to make these acquisitions, or the city's broker was trying to make these acquisitions.
I got a question. I probably should have asked this early on. It's probably for Roger. Is how can we legally pay what's nearly 10 times the appraised value on a piece of property?
Yep.
According to courthouse records. And that's all, I know that's not always accurate, but it's not that far off. That's my question. How can we legally do that without having, an actual appraisal?
It's not a legal issue involved in that.
Okay. That's why I was asking.
I can answer that probably, and I'm not the attorney, but if I put a price on that phone right there and this piece of property, that's my price, whether you pay it or not. And that's what I tried to explain to people in the county, that why would you pay that much for property? If it was your property, you would take it.
Oh, I'd
You would
take it
receive it.
hardly. Anybody would take it.
It's commercial property. They know the effects of it. They know where it's going. They know the effects from the Alpha Center. And ain't nobody in this room, if you do, raise your hand, wouldn't it take $100,000 an acre? If you would, and That's what it amounts to. And they just riding the back of the apple center, just being
They-
straight up.
They
You know what I mean?
engage brokers and they know what the
Yep.
value of that land is.
And they know what it's gonna bring, they know what's gonna, you know, with all these companies that want to go on this property, and that's what it's gonna run everything up. It's,
With that being said, when we discussed purchasing the Ellison property to begin with, there were letters of intent were gonna be coming down shortly.
We-
Well,
we
that's
think-
been 2 months.
We hadn't assembled our package yet. You can't get a letter of intent until you've got, we gotta have this core acreage to be subdivided again after we own it. When we put our redelt district over it and own it, then it'll be subdivided. And at that point, we'll get letter of intent. But we don't own the property yet. But we're getting really close to meeting a minimum threshold to at least for it to pay for itself.
So none of the properties that we purchased to this point would meet the threshold for one of these companies to say, hey, I want this because it's
Yes.
the most prime piece of
Yes.
property.
Yes, but there's locations within that our people that are planning this want these particular people or places or businesses in certain areas on the property. So they've got you saw the 212 master plan that was done by, who was the firm? Chambliss King. Well, the developers out there have an internal master plan of what they want that to look like, how the road system is gonna work, how it's gonna engage with the traffic lights and all of that. So we've gotta assemble a core piece of property out there so that they can subdivide it to make it fit that master plan. And their master plan is not just to occupy it, but to maximize the tax revenue off of it. So they have certain people that they're trying to recruit, and they've got them on the hook. So we're being told by the people that are gonna get paid to do this. So we've had 3 economists look at it. All 3 economists have come back and said the numbers are legit. We hired an independent financial analysis person to review it. Rush Rice, his firm reviewed it. They're happy with it. They think the numbers are legit. University of Alabama, the Marking Group. Who is the group that's doing the study right now, Monica? Yeah. DSL, most reputable people. CSL, most reputable people that money can hire say it's a great investment.
We've done our due diligence.
We've done our due
Mr. Chairman,
diligence.
you got a motion, a
Okay.
second.
Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No,
I have to abstain.
Let the record reflect that Matt abstains and Commissioner Williams votes no. Motion passes. So Roger, if you will, after the meeting, call your real estate agent and give him a verbal on it, and we'll get him a signed contract tomorrow morning. Okay, we'll move down. Commissioner Hardy, you have anything?
No, sir.
Commissioner Bone?
No, sir.
Commissioner Headley? Commissioner Kelly?
No, sir.
Commissioner Mims?
Yes, sir. I would like to start the process of vacation by landowner petition for County Road 559 in the Mineral Springs community. So I will get one of the landowners there and get, I think there are 5 abutting landowners, and I will get that landowner to get a petition of all 5 abutting landowners and get it back to you.
Yes, so we could have a scheduled public hearing.
Correct.
Yeah, but you don't need any action
I don't need
from
any
us
action. I
tonight.
just wanted information
No.
out there
Okay.
that it's in the works.
Okay. And that is a dead-end road?
Yeah, about a
And-
quarter of a mile long, dead-end road. It only has 3 houses on it. All 3 of those property owners that have houses are all for this. There are 2 that are out of, one's way off in Alabama. The other one's in Tennessee. I'm gonna get him working on it.
Okay.
So,
that's the gentleman that came, it was not the last meeting, but the one before.
correct,
That's
correct.
All right. Okay. All right, anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
Yeah, since Matt's our representative on the Alpha Ag Board, whatever it is, I was if he had any kind of report he could give us on that at the present time.
What's that, the Ag Cooperative District?
Yeah,
Everything is moving forward. everything, is right on schedule for now. As far as I know, Alpha is looking at, or, Bill Harbert is actually looking at getting heavy equipment on the site either at the end of September or beginning of October, if it'll ever quit raining. But as far as that, everything's on schedule. The permits are very, very close. I think all the permits are in except for, are they all in or all but one? All but one are in, so.
So they plan on breaking ground in September.
End of September, 1st of October, as weather allowing, weather permitting. And I don't remember in my lifetime a summer this wet, so I pray to God it gets to go.
So the last that I heard, and Matt, you may correct me on this, but the intent was to do enough heavy dirt moving before the winter set in that they could actually build the structures through the winter.
And that's exactly
And then
right.
they would come back next summer and finish the dirt work.
That's right. That's the plan.
Okay, that's all I need. Move to adjourn.
All right, we have a
Second.
hold on. Yes, I'm sorry. Late breaking news, and this is something that everybody needs to tune their ears in.
You know, I think I'd need to get y'all to sign some kind of piece of paper that declares that y'all are my friends. No, I'm serious, because then I have to get up and tell y'all stuff y'all don't want to hear.
You not gonna
It's
like
bad.
it.
It's not, you ain't gonna like this. The CDC issued new guidelines around 3 o'clock this afternoon. And those guidelines are going to require mandatory masking at all indoor events, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. Thank you. Now you know why I wanted the signature.
That's hilarious.
I don't know how this is gonna be enforced. It
I ain't
is,
voting that may enforce it.
the state health officer issued a statement this afternoon that there will not be a masking order coming from the state health officer, and he directed everyone to the CDC guidelines, so you can imagine what's happening here. Everybody's running for cover.
Yeah, they better run for cover.
There are only 2 counties in the state of Alabama that this does not apply to.
Chilton?
I'm sorry, no,
Wow.
you're red.
Period.
You're red.
You know why we're red, Mr. Roger?
Do I know why?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you accept the definition of the CDC, it is because you have a low vaccination rate
Exactly.
and you have increased reported COVID cases.
But it's mainly because of the low
It's mainly
vaccination
because of
rate.
low vaccination rate.
They're pushing the
Exposure rate.
vaccinations, what they're doing.
When is it not about money?
Yeah, well,
Just wondering.
so
Everything.
Well, vaccination's free, so how can that be about money?
You know, the government paying the,
So-
Ain't nothing free.
I would
Like
tell you
communism.
that all indications are that this is not the end of this. The healthcare community, as you all probably saw in local news and national news over the weekend, have begun to push again and forecasting that by October, we will be back into 4,000 deaths a day. And the Delta variant is not being shown to be deterred by the previous vaccines, so the Delta variant is what's producing it. There are a number of cases now of vaccinated people who are also getting the Delta variant, and so science is trying to catch up to that. I don't know what the answer is going to be. Nobody does. We're trying to outrun something that I don't know if you can outrun it, but the standard procedures that I saw being put in place this afternoon, not only by my firm to our private clients, but to the government clients, and I met with the two-year college system this afternoon, is that tomorrow morning they will all be receiving memos stating that CDC guidelines are in effect. So that's where things will be when you wake up in the morning. So thought we better mention that and make sure that was on the radio so
Thanks a
people will
lot.
be aware of it. And thank you, I'm leaving the building.
hold on before you leave, quick question. So through the COVID situation so far, we've kind of mirrored most of what we've done locally based on what our state health officer and the governor's declarations have been. So at this point, we don't have any new declarations from the governor or the state health officer. So until there's some kind of federal mandate or a state mandate, are we business as usual?
You gonna ask me to give a lesson on federalism tonight? Really?
I'm asking.
That's your will, that's your choice. The CDC is a mandatory guideline. If you choose not to follow it because you want to assert your independence, that's up to you. I cannot advise you to do that.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Roger?
Yeah,
How can they enforce a mandate if it's not a legislated law?
because the CDC is delegated by Congress with the authority to issue health and safety orders.
So it is a law.
Well, it's federal regulation, just like the IRS. Pay your taxes or suffer the consequences. The problem with this, Randall, is enforcement. And every citizen's having to deal with how do they feel about this? Do they agree with it, disagree with it? And I can tell you, based on the travels I've had today, that the opinions are all over the chart. School systems all over this country were meeting this afternoon. In this state, they were meeting this afternoon, trying to figure out what to do with school openings in 2 weeks, in anticipation that these rules are going to change even yet again, even before they turn the key in the door.
So in
So-
other words, about 6 weeks from now, we can get another check then. That's what this amounts to. We're just gonna get another check, because we can't get nobody to go to work, we'll leave them at home. Did I say that? Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
Well, I guess the one difference of where we are at the moment for this moving target is that you can continue to meet and you can continue to go to school and you can continue to work if you wear a mask. So, you can go to church, wear your mask, sing in the choir, wear the mask.
She said buy it from China.
Go to a picnic, wear your mask. I've got an idea that there's not gonna be a lot of compliance with this, but I cannot, as a lawyer, advise this
Right.
body to defy a CDC regulation. You can do what you want. I cannot
Compliant is
endorse
not
it.
in my vocabulary.
Well, we don't have to, when that time comes, we'll have to bring it for a vote.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning?
I made the motion.
I make a,
Hadn't been in the hospital for 3 months, he probably would have worn his mask.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I already made it.
Second.
They're asking who it was.
Oh, I meant.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.